Here is what's sexy, here is what sells, here is what everybody wants you to believe. You buy for $100 a random small meme coin, that meme coin then explodes and you become a millionaire. This is what everybody wants. It's sexy, it sells, but unfortunately it's not what works. What is not sexy then? What's not sexy is to buy the boomer coin, it's to buy Bitcoin, it's to buy regularly independent of market cycles, just to dollar cost average in. That's what's not sexy, but it works. In this video, I want to run the numbers and I want to simulate that we are buying at very suboptimal times. So we are not making pie in the sky assumptions. We are assuming that we start buying into Bitcoin at the peak of 2017, when subsequently we fell by more than 80%. We then look at starting buying into Bitcoin just before the smaller crash. So this is a bit more of a realistic scenario. And then we look at a point where we started buying in March of 2021. Again, at a peak of a bull market, again, when everybody is hyper excited about Bitcoin, and currently the Bitcoin price is even slightly below that first entry point. Now there's something very important here. When we're buying something super risky, like a meme coin, we aren't necessarily comfortable putting in thousands and thousands of dollars, right? Because we expect that this goes 100 or 1000x. When we buy something like Bitcoin, we can be fairly certain that Bitcoin over the years, over the decades, will potentially be higher in price because the Fed prints more and more money and because adoption tends to increase over time, right? So it's fairly reasonable to assume that Bitcoin will stick around. There's certainty around regulation. There's even a Bitcoin ETF. So we can put in much more money into Bitcoin, right? We have to speculate with lottery tickets, with meme coins, but with Bitcoin, we can actually start deploying serious money. Now let's start off with the first scenario. You got hyped up during the 2016-2017 bull run and you are late to the party. You buy the absolute top. That top happened on the 17th of December 2017 and we are buying into Bitcoin regularly. Now I made the assumption that we are buying into Bitcoin with $1,000 every month. Now if your numbers are different, if it's only $100 or if it's $5,000, you can adjust this accordingly. I think $1,000 is somewhat representative for a person that's in the prime earning years and that has some money to set aside. So $1,000 every month, starting over here, you would have then put in $80,000. Over those roughly 6.5 years, you would have put in $80,000 and that would have become $371,000. It's just a bit over 6 years. It's not that long of a time and it's just $1,000 per month. It's also not exorbitant amounts of money, but still after that time, we've got more than $370,000. Let's look at the next example. Let's say you didn't buy the absolute peak. Let's say you buy something that resembles an average price. So we've already come down quite a bit from the peak, but you haven't picked the bottom, right? You still experienced right after starting to buy Bitcoin a crash of more than 50%. Here is that scenario. So you start buying on the 6th of November 2018. You put in $70,000 and that turned into $288,000. So you more than 4x'd your money. And that's now over the span of less than 6 years. This needs to go to 1 million or March buyers now will make millions. This is how you get the clicks on YouTube, but this is not how you beat the market. To beat the market in crypto, you need to be better informed than the rest. You need to be better skilled than the rest. You need to do better blockchain analytics. You need to track other people's wallets and know what is the smart money doing. It's the boring educational content that forms skill that doesn't perform so well on YouTube though. That's why I created the premium membership. Feel free to check it out. We are tracking influencer wallets to find out what they are buying before promoting this on YouTube. We've got a lot of tutorials to help with on-chain analytics, to help with wallet discovery. And of course, there are also plenty of chats where we help each other and also one-on-one conversations with me. So I'm messaging every premium member one-on-one directly. Once you're joining, you will get a message from me and you have the opportunity to directly pick my brain. Feel free to check it out, thebitcointrader.com. Link is down below. What's so important during those kinds of considerations? It's important to strongly believe in Bitcoin, right? To believe that Bitcoin will stay around over the long term. Otherwise, we can't buy through the bear markets, right? We have to continue buying when most people don't want to hear about Bitcoin. This is where all the returns are coming from. We are making contrarian bets by buying both high but also low. We cannot stop buying when everybody shies away from crypto. And that's the big difference to meme coins, right? We do not know if a meme coin will recover. More likely than not, it won't recover because there will be new meme coins, there will be new altcoins. And so very often we simply just see a pump and a subsequent dump and never a recovery in meme coins. This is very different with Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin we can buy when it's very low. And the numbers don't lie, right? It's a 4x or a more than 300% increase over the span of less than 6 years. And since we can deploy significant money to this, we get a real nice capital stock after a while. We just have to be a bit patient. Now here's the fascinating thing about all of this. Let's assume you would have started buying at the end of the bull run in 2021. You would have started to dollar cost average in monthly with $1,000, and subsequently we got our crash and our recovery. We are even slightly below that price level right now. What we are about to see is why dollar cost averaging can be superior to just deploying all capital at once. Again, if you don't want to time the market. And unfortunately, the majority is unable to time the market properly because you have to buy when nobody else is looking and you have to sell when everybody is super excited. So let's say you got excited as well, but not to the degree that you put in all your eggs into the basket at once. You spread this out monthly, again with $1,000 each time. You would have paid in $42,000 over the span of 3.5 years, roughly. And that $42,000 would have turned into $74,000, an ROI of 78%, while Bitcoin went slightly down. And the reason why this works is again because we buy also those low prices and you get more Bitcoin for the low prices. And since some of those purchases happen at lower levels, those kinds of contributions then make a 3x. So the only thing that really matters is, will Bitcoin stick around? Will Bitcoin at some point recover again from a crash? If you've got that fundamental conviction, then you can simply just continue buying in. You don't have to look at the price all the time. It's not sexy whatsoever, but I've personally done this, and this is how I started my crypto journey. This is how I made my first money in crypto. Once you are at 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 in crypto, then you can put $5,000 on a meme coin. It will not change too much of the dynamic, but then if you make maybe a 10x on that meme coin, that's a nice addition. You don't want to start your crypto journey just putting $100 on a meme coin and hoping that it will bring you to $1 million. It's very unlikely going to happen. It's much better to focus on your main job, to be able to save $1,000 per month, to put this into BTC for a while, let this grow, and then have a nice nest egg that lets you afford to take on some more risk if you want to. Now let's get a bit into the nitty-gritty details. Is there a difference whether or not we buy monthly versus, say, weekly? Should we buy in more regularly? How much of a difference does this make? The answer is not much. Let's run the numbers. Here is the monthly contribution of $1,000, where we are spending $42,000 over the period. We've already looked at this. When we transform this into weekly contributions, so we've got the same total contribution almost, so that's $235 per week, we are getting to a very similar end result, $75,200 versus $74,800. So that's very, very similar. It really does not matter if you buy in monthly or weekly. You simply have to buy in regularly. It's a comparatively harder path, right? We have to work, we have to wait for a while, we have to endure the volatility when things crash, we have to be very contrarian during that time, but it is a path that's comparatively safe. It's not just playing the lottery. And so there's two ways to think about this, right? If you don't have $1,000 to invest every month now, you can of course also do this with $100. And instead of having 370,000, you will have 37,000. But in my opinion, the unsexy reality is to not necessarily only focus on investing at that point. If you can only set aside $100 per month, maybe it makes sense to rather work on income. Maybe it makes sense to work on skilling up, to learn maybe programming, to learn very advanced programming, to get clients that pay you regularly, to add another side hustle to your main hustle, to level up in the jobs that you're taking that pays more and more. That's probably the highest lever if you can't yet save $1,000 per month. If you can save 1,000 or even more, then better, because we've seen it in the numbers. It does move the needle after not even too long of a time frame. If you got something out of this video, feel free to give this a like. It helps the channel grow. Feel free to also subscribe. I publish videos regularly. In case you've got Telegram, then you are more than welcome to join us. The link is down below. Looking very much forward to chatting with you. Cheers.